In the opening scene, Hamad narrates how every love story begins with a touch of honey, just like theirs. The scene reveals Noor and Hamad quarreling with each other, and Noor asking for a divorce. They didn't start that way, as it was completely different for them. Hamad goes down memory lane. Hamad Sale is the manager of Sale Investment, owned by Sale, his father and CEO of the company. Whenever he steps into the office, everyone is up on their toes to impress the handsome and young manager, especially the ladies who can barely take their eyes off him. Noor, on the other hand, is a fitness trainer who believes that men cannot be trusted, hence women need to be strong at all times. Though, her exception at the time is Yusuf, who is the love of her life. Hamad and Noor's dreams get disrupted abruptly when Hamad's father halts a German dealership that Hamad has been working on for 3 years with a condition that he gets married within a month and sends his grandson's sonogram to him. Noor, on the other hand, gets betrayed by her love Yusuf, who had told her he'll be on a business trip in Beirut for 6 weeks, only for her friend Amel to send Yusuf's wedding photos to her. Noor is at her weakest upon discovering that Yusuf left her for Aisha, her classmate, way back when he was still in school. She cries her eyes out and decides to fill up her pain with food, while lamenting to Amal that she intends to get back at Yusuf by getting married within a week. She asks for Amal's help to get a suitor in no more than 24 hours. Amal shares Noor's situation with her husband Wael, who happens to be Hamad's friend. Wael suddenly gets an idea to match Hamad and Noor together. He shares it with his wife, and the couple immediately begin the work of convincing their friends to get to know each other. Amal convinces Noor to appear like a simple-minded girl, which men would naturally love, while Wael convinces Hamad to dress up like a bad boy. The duo take the advice from their friends in a bid to impress each other on their first date. Noor is awed by Hamad's handsomeness, but as she takes each step closer to him, her heel suddenly breaks, throwing her off balance. A few minutes later, they take a seat in the library's lounge and Hamad tries to learn more about Noor. She pretends to be a very traditional girl, which she is not. After a few discussions, they excuse themselves to call their friends, complaining about each other's personalities. Wael and Amal advise that they call off the date since there is no need for the marriage. They realize they have to make some adjustments so they can achieve their goals. In no time, they get married and soon set off for their honeymoon overseas. Aunt Iman, Hamad's aunt, arrives at the wedding venue late, and she is surprised to see that the occasion is over already. Wael introduces her to Aunt Samar, who is Noor's mother. It turns out the ladies know each other, so they are quite excited to see each other, but Aunt Iman's countenance changes upon realizing her nephew just married Noor. Amal does quite some digging into Yusuf's honeymoon location. She updates Noor with her finds, also pleading that Hamad should not know of their conversation, as they will be having their honeymoon in the same location as Yusuf. Hamad shakes and wonders what's wrong with Noor, who is taking pictures of herself while driving. They soon arrive at the hotel, though Hamad doesn't understand why they are lodging in a hotel on the mountain, but he decides to let Noor have her way. His aunt has been calling, but he can't take her calls since he has quite a lot to do first. He lets the phone ring repeatedly until it goes off. While the newlyweds are unpacking their bags, Noor wonders why Hamad is staring at her, and she excuses herself to use the restroom. The duo immediately call their friends, expressing their concerns as they perceive the other is making sexual advances which they do not want. Amal and Wael remind them of the reason why they got married in the first place. Hence, they must play along in order to achieve their mission of getting back at Yusuf and giving the old Sale a grandson. After the call, the duo rehearse how they will approach each other. While Hamad is going about ensuring he smells nice, his aunt rings his phone one more time. He picks up her call, and Aunt Aman pleads with him to stay in different rooms with his wife, as Noor might be his sister. Hamad is in shock at the possibility of Noor being his sister. Aman explains that Noor's mother used to leave Noor at their house when she was a baby, and his mother had breastfed Noor. Over the phone, Aman and Samar argue about the number of times Hamad's mother had breastfed Noor, because if it's up to 5 times, then Noor is his sister. Hamad informs them that he'll divorce Noor and head back home the next day, but his aunt insists he keeps it a secret until she and Samar have done their research. She asks him to give them until the next day so they can make inquiries from a neighbor who lived with them back then. Immediately the call drops, and Noor comes out of the restroom and walks seductively towards him. She decides to go by Amal's advice to be flirty and then pull back. Hamad's heart begins to race as he's not ready for intimacy yet. He encourages her to have some rest immediately as she complains of a headache. As she turns her back to go lie down, the both of them heave a sigh of relief. The next morning, Noor goes out for her morning jog. She contacts Amal to help her confirm if Yusuf is really in the same hotel she's lodged in, because she hasn't seen him yet. She pleads with her friend to do more research and confirm. Later, she and Hamad are having breakfast at the hotel's open-air restaurant. He tells her of his plans to have kids immediately, but Noor is on her phone with Amal, who is updating her with the location where Yousef is partying. She quickly informs Hamad that she wants them to go party at some cool locations she just found out on Instagram. Hamad doesn't want to, but she argues with him that it's good for their honeymoon. Later that evening, Noor is in the club's restroom, and she's on the phone with her friend. She is dying to see Yousef's reaction when he finds out that she's married. Amal discourages her from going on about Yousef, and she advises her friend to focus more on the man she's married to. Noor feels Hamad is an entirely different person from who he made her believe he is. However, all that matters to her is seeing Yousef burn with jealousy. After the call, Noor goes back into the party to drag Hamad so they can dance, but he stylishly pulls away, claiming he has a call he needs to go tend to. While he's outside requesting Whale to give him a plan B since Andaman is not picking up, Noor spots someone who looks exactly like Yousef. She moves closer to have a better look, but on getting there, she can't find him again. She gets emotional and sad as her eyes fill up with tears. Hamad finally receives a call from his aunt, who requests that he give her until the next day. He pleads with her to keep him updated and always picks up her phone. He plans to go back inside and make Noor dance until she's exhausted. That way, she will sleep like a corpse and not make any advances towards him. Hamad gets back to find a man disturbing Noor, and the guy is unwilling to take his leave even as she tries to shoo him off. Hamad steps in, and the guy's gang gathers together to create a scene. Noor realizes that things might just go bad as the guy pushes Hamad to the ground. In an instant, she grabs the guy and deals with him, using some ninja moves. When they get back, Hamad wonders where she learned those moves from. Noor wears a dry smile on her face and informs him that the next time he sees her in such a situation, he shouldn't bother rescuing her as she can sort herself out. She bids him goodnight after ensuring that he's not in too much pain. Afterward, she takes a seat by the window. She looks sad and deep in thought as her eyes wander about the room. The next morning, Hamad wakes up to her screaming his name from the bathroom. She yells at him for pressing the toothpaste tube wrongly and leaving the toilet cover up instead of down. The duo begins to yell at each other as he also draws her attention to her things that are littered all over the room. They suddenly stop when they hear a knock on the door. Upon opening the door, they find a lady who has come to offer them some complimentary cake in celebration of their honeymoon. They smile pretentiously as they listen to her lecture them on the wonders their hotel performs on newlyweds. Later, Hamad rushes over to the guy in charge and tells him to book them for some crazy activities that will have them knocked out for 2 solid days. The receptionist smiles and informs him that he will book them for hiking so they can leave the next day, but Hamad wants an activity that very day. So he asks the guy to work something out for him. Noor is in her room feeding on the complimentary cake and also briefing her friend about the event from the previous night where she saw Yousef. Amal doubts that she has seen Yousef, and it might just be all in her head, but her friend claims that she has moved on, and she isn't bothered by seeing him or anything of the sort. Noor pleads with Amal to keep stalking Yousef and Aisha's page, while she deals with Hamad, who must have booked some silly honeymoon activity for them. Moments later, Hamad has succeeded in booking lots of exhausting activities. Noor is enjoying every bit of the activities, but he looks scared and thinks that they might end up getting injured or hurt, and he can't back out. They get back home much later in the evening, and Hamad quickly gets into the bathroom to freshen up and call his aunt. Aunt Samar and Aman, who are having a chill facial session, reveal to the young man that they don't have any news for him yet. However, they will keep looking and give him some information the next day. Noor is having a headache, and she sees some blue pills in the drawer. She calls Hamad, who is in the restroom, and he lies, saying that the pills are for migraine. The moment she tells him that she has taken some for her headache, he comes out shouting for her not to, but it's too late. At night, when they are supposed to be resting, Noor is bursting with energy, and she can't sleep. She decides to do some exercise. She explains herself panting as Hamad walks over to where she's jumping and sweating it out. He understands what's going on, but he keeps mute and refuses her offer to come join her. A few minutes later, she slumps and Hamad is confused about what could have caused that. Later, a doctor comes to check on Noor. The doctor realizes that she must have taken some special pills. Hamad gives the doctor some signals with his eyes not to say too much. After the checkup, he confesses that Noor took his Viagra as he sees the doctor out of their apartment. Before taking his leave, the doctor assures him that she will be fine by morning. During the day, Hamad and Noor call their friends to brief them on all the happenings. He pleads with his friend to help his aunt in the search for the old neighbor whom they need to confirm if Noor is his sister or not. Whale jokes that he suspects that Hamad must be falling in love with Noor, but he refuses to admit a thing. Noor is also on call with Amal, talking about how helpful and sweet Hamad has been to her. Amal advises her to forget about Yusuf and focus on Hamad, who is a keeper, but she doesn't want to have that discussion. So she informs her friend that Yusuf hasn't posted anything since the previous day. After the call, she gets up to go in search of Hamad. She finds him playing the piano, and she's quite impressed. She notices that he has seen her, so she turns to take her to leave, but he comes running after her. She questions him about leaving the toilet seat up once again, but his attention is drawn by the guy who is to book them for the energy-draining activities. Later, they embark on the hiking adventure, and yet again, Noor doesn't seem to be a bit tired while he is all drained. He watches as she joyfully jumps up and down taking pictures and even tugging him to move faster. In the evening, they set up a bonfire and a guy is playing the guitar while some of the women there are laughing and having fun. Noor takes Hamad's phone away from him and requests he join them in enjoying the activity instead of being on his phone all day. She thanks him for all the fun activities she's been having and then requests that he share something about himself, specifically his childhood. He tells her about his father who married 4 wives and his mother's passing. His childhood was quite lonely. After talking about himself, he teases Noor, who had claimed that all she does is cardio, and now she's confessing that she knows Muay Thai. She laughs at him, and it seems she is getting quite comfortable around him. She lays her head on his shoulder while he wraps his arm around her to support her from the back. Later that night, while walking outside, Hamad calls his aunt, threatening to come back to Kuwait the next day if she doesn't give him useful information. She informs him that she's been trying to reach him because she was able to finally reach the neighbor, and thankfully, his mother never breastfed Noor, so he can go ahead to enjoy his honeymoon to the maximum. Aunt Iman and Samir start singing in excitement while Hamad jumps up happily. He turns back and runs straight into the house. He gets back in and finds Noor snoring as she sleeps. He rolls his eyeballs, knowing fully well that was his doing. The following morning, during Noor's session with a trainer, she receives a call that interrupts the session. She apologizes to other participants for the noise, as she couldn't stop exclaiming after hearing her friend reveal that Yusuf left an angry emoji on every single story Amal shared from Noor's account. Amal reveals that she's quite certain that Yusuf's honeymoon is ruined by now. Noor runs out of the training ground as soon as her friend reveals that she has confirmed the name of the hotel where Yusuf is lodging. She rushes back to her apartment, and on opening the door, she finds lots of beautiful flowers and candles decorating the room. She takes a look around, wondering what's going on, when she spots the table that's set already. Hamad walks in trying to flirt with her, and she suddenly loses composure. She sits him down, explaining that she loves all he did for her, but she feels there is something about the hotel. They both agree that the hotel is jinxed, and they decide to move to another hotel close to the seaside. They settle into the hotel Noor chose, but Hamad isn't too happy about it. He wants them to go sit in the chalet and get cozy, but Noor claims she doesn't want to miss the beautiful ambience of the seaside. While they are discussing, she spots Aisha and tries to hide, but Aisha has already seen her. Before Aisha can move over to their side, Noor tries to sit on the same chair as Hamad, but ends up falling to the ground and spills Hamad's drink all over his shirt. Aisha meets them, and after the pleasantries, Noor introduces her husband, revealing that they are in Lebanon for their honeymoon. Aisha is happy for her. She requests to call her husband because they are also there for their honeymoon. When Yusuf joins them, his countenance and that of Noor change, but they keep up quite a pretentious act. He invites them over for his wife's birthday party later in the day, and Noor accepts the invite while Hamad tries to turn it down. When they get back to the apartment, Noor stays in the washroom, nursing her broken heart, which didn't feel any better after showing off Hamad. Her husband comes knocking as she's taking too long there. She claims her zipper is stuck, but Hamad notices the tension in her body language, so he asks about Yusuf and Aisha's story. While going about what to wear, Noor explains her relationship with both, but she doesn't say much on Yusuf's part. She simply explains that he's a neighbor. Hamad suggests they skip the birthday since they aren't close friends of hers. He suggests that they chill and chit-chat, but Noor refuses and insists they attend. As they gather for Aisha's birthday, the celebrant keeps talking on and on about her time in the United States. While the others are bored with her many stories, she suddenly gets up to use the ladies' bathroom, and Noor tries to spite Yusuf by getting up close with Hamad, who is wondering why she's doing all that now. Yusuf interrupts, asking to know how they met. Hamad and Noor put up quite a show until Hamad's phone rings, and he excuses himself to go answer it. Yusuf tries to explain that he was forced into marrying his cousin because his father wanted it. Noor is pissed. She picks up her purse and gets up to leave, but Yusuf grabs her and pulls her back. He notices that she is still putting on the necklace he bought for her. So he requests that they sort things out and get back together. Just then Hamad returns. Noor grabs Hamad and leads the way for them to leave, but Yusuf stops them, inviting them to a yacht he booked for the next morning. Hamd and Noor thanks him, but turn down his invitation with an excuse. They get back to their apartment, and Noor stays by the balcony looking into nothing as tears well up in her eyes. Hamad walks over to her, explaining that he doesn't like Yusuf and Aisha. He doesn't want them to go to the yacht. He notices something is off, and she's been crying, but she claims it's a result of tiredness. She thanks him once again for all he's doing for her. He wipes her tears away and caresses her face lightly when his phone starts ringing. He steps out to take his aunt's call, and Iman informs him that Noor might be back to being his sister. She reveals that the neighbor has Alzheimer's and her words can't be trusted. Now they will need to find the housemaid from back then if they want to ascertain the truth. Hamad is frustrated, but he agrees to give her till the next day so she can go in search of the maid and confirm his relationship with Noor. The next morning, Noor comes to meet Hamad, who spent the night on one of the beach chairs. She wants them to stay indoors and laze around, but Yusuf comes to interrupt, asking them to join him and his wife on the yacht. Hamad quickly accepts the invite because he doesn't want to get intimate with Noor, since there's a possibility that she might just be his sister. On the yacht cruise, Noor clings to Hamad's arms because she's scared of the water. Yusuf asks Hamad to come fish, and since Noor brags about him being skilled at fishing, he is left with no other option than to fish. An hour later, Hamad doesn't get any fish, whereas Yusuf's basket is almost half filled. Noor drags the fishing rod with Hamad, offering to show him how it's done, and she accidentally falls into the sea. Yusuf and his wife laugh at the sight of her struggling in the water, while Hamad, who feels irritated watching them laugh, jumps into the sea to rescue her. Later that evening, Yusuf comes to mock her for trying to use Hamad to break his heart, and she warns him to never compare himself with Hamad, because it will take him 1,000,000 years to become the man Hamad is. He apologizes for laughing at her when she fell into the water because he forgot that she can't swim. He wants them to forget everything and reconcile, but she pours her drink on him and walks away. On getting back home, Noor struggles with herself before finally throwing the necklace Yusuf got her into the WC. She steps into the room to find a bag on the bed. She takes a look at Hamad, who signals her to check inside the bag. She jumps up in excitement and embraces him for the outfit he got her for the event later tonight. Later, Noor is enjoying her time at the party. She drags Hamad to come dance with her, and in the course of their dancing, he receives a call from his aunt. He excuses himself to Noor's displeasure. His aunt confirms that Noor is not his sister for certain this time. He is excited, and the two women congratulate him once again. He gets back into the party excitedly and drags Noor with him to the bar stand so they can go have a drink. They take several shots, drinking, dancing, and laughing endlessly. Afterwards, she pulls him to the swimming pool, requesting he teach her how to swim. The following morning, the alarm wakes them up, and Noor wonders if anything has happened between them. Hamad believes it wouldn't be a problem since she's his wife. His phone starts buzzing, and he picks it up and reads the confirmation message from his aunt that Noor is his wife. He jumps back into the bed and exclaims happily that she is his wife. She laughs as she wonders what's going on with him. Later in the day, Hamad is on call with Whale. He wants to tell Noor the truth, but Whale tells him not to, else he will ruin the marriage. Meanwhile, Yusuf has been acting strange to his wife. He even walks out on her at the restaurant. He meets with Noor on his way. Unknown to them, his wife is watching, even though she can't hear them. Noor warns him to let go of her as they are both married, and she loves her partner. Not long after, Aisha walks into Noor's apartment and warns her to stay away from her husband or else she will ruin her life. While Aisha is going on with her threats, Hamad walks in with a cake in his hand. After hearing the conversation, he feels hurt, and he decides not to go in anymore. He drops the cake in the trash can and takes his leave. While Hamad is thinking through everything, Noor calls her friend crying and confesses how much she regrets her actions. She feels guilty for doing such wrong to Hamad because he's not taking her calls anymore. Amal doesn't want her friend to get worked up over this guilt she's feeling, so she spills the truth about Hamad. Noor is so pissed, she packs her belongings, ready to leave when Hamad walks into the room. She attacks him, and the both of them get into a heated argument, yelling and calling each other names. This is the exact point where Hamad travels down memory lane on how their journey began. She angrily asks him to divorce her. What's more surprising is that Man and Samar show up right in front of their door. The woman asks Noor to calm down and informs her that she shouldn't blame Hamad, as they were the ones who asked him not to tell her anything about the possibility of them being siblings. Noor is enraged. She feels he's the nastiest person she has ever come across. Right before Man and Samar, Hamad proclaims that she's divorced just like she wants. They gasp in shock. The duo packs up and heads back to Kuwait. Noor deletes all the photos she took with Hamad. As she's hurting from all the recent happenings in her life, she pours her energy and time into her fitness. Hamad, on the other hand, loses concentration in everything he's doing. He has fallen in love with her, and now he's losing both his love and company, as well as the German deal. He calls her severally, but she refuses to take his calls. His father reveals that he can keep the dealership, which they will be signing in 2 weeks. However, he insists that Hamad must get married, and this time he gets to choose the bride. Sale informs Hamad that he will be getting married to his cousin Miriam. Yusuf comes back to apologize to Noor for everything, and he's even willing to divorce Aisha if she will come back to him. She ignores him and focuses on her practice like he's invisible. Hamad is having dinner with his friend, and he suggests they try raw liver like he learned from Noor. Whale feels pissed as he's tired of hearing him mention Noor's name on everything ever since the trip from Lebanon. Hamad gets upset and blames it all on Noor for breaking his heart. Amal shuts him up and reveals that Noor has been having sleepless nights. Also contrary to what he believes, she isn't back with Yusuf, even though he offered to divorce Aisha to get her back. Getting back home, Hamad's dad calls him to inform him that his wedding is in 2 days. The old man wants to know if he will show up or embarrass him in front of his brother. Noor meets up with Amal. She informs her friend that she has sent her resume to the gym in Beirut since she intends to leave. Everyone around her now looks at her with a side eye, referring to her as a homewrecker, all thanks to Aisha. Amal tries unsuccessfully to discourage her friend from leaving. However, she ends up promising her friend not to reveal her location or say anything to anyone about her relocation. The sit-out for Hamad's wedding takes place, and a wedding date has been fixed. Meanwhile, Noor has successfully moved to Beirut. During Miriam's fitting, Hamad hears her talking to one Ism on the phone, and from the conversation, he can tell that the guy is her boyfriend. He smiles at her dryly as he can also see that she's not happy with their marriage, which is supposed to be on the following week. Amal sends a screenshot of Hamad's wedding Roman 4 to Noor. She places a call to Noor, but she's surprised that her friend is not bothered about the image she sent. With a little push, Noor finally indicates her desire for Hamad to reach out to her. On the day of Hamad's wedding, Noor is heading to her room at the hotel where she and Hamad first lodged. She suddenly stops as she hears the piano play, the same sound Hamad played. She runs back to check, and to her amazement, Hamad is right there playing the piano. He walks up to her and confesses how scared he was when she left his side. He admits that she has added color to his life, and she's the first person to have made him feel alive. He reveals that his cousin did the same thing as him by returning to the one she loves. So he pleads that they get back together, and to her surprise, her mom, Aunt Iman, Amal, and Whale are softly asking her to say yes from behind her. Hamad promises to be honest to her henceforth, and he's willing to put everything on hold if she agrees to marry him right away. The others run towards her asking her to say yes to Hamad already. Noor shuts them up and mentions that she will accept his proposal on the condition that he will promise to always put the toilet seat down. He laughs lightly and makes the promise. Their friends gather round to celebrate with them. The lovebirds get married and enjoy their honeymoon right away, not long after they are already expecting a child. Their story ends with Noor and Hamad narrating that not all love stories kick off to a honeyed start. Some might be bitter at the start, and then become as sweet as honey for a lifetime.